Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day. Hi from Indiana, South Carolina, Illinois. It is much warmer here than it was last week, significantly warmer. I think we're back into the 20s for today, which is still very cold, but a lot better than -10, which was very, very cold last week. So I'm going to just give everybody a second to join in here. Hi, I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I hope everybody was sewing, doing a lot of fun stuff. If you were inside because of the cold weather, I really hope that you were using your sergers. So, alrighty, I think everybody's in here just about. So, hi everyone, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So if you're new here, my name is John, and this is Glory Horn Sewing Studio. We're located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and today I have a really awesome, cool, quick little lesson on the Babylock Triumph behind me. So if you've been watching and keeping up with us, I've been showing so many fun different things on the sergers over the past few weeks, and I plan on showing so much more. Like I said, we are surging into the new year this year, and I want everybody to start using their sergers more. And today I'm going to do something really cool with the Babylock Triumph. It is an 8-thread serger, so you have a bunch of different stitch possibilities and combinations. And there's so much jam-packed on the machine that I probably can't show you everything all in one day today. But I'm going to show you guys something really cool, and that's going to be quilting on the serger, which, yes, you can quilt on the serger without even using the 4-thread overlock. You could actually use what we call our serger straight stitch. So I'm going to show you guys some really cool techniques, a couple different accessories that's going to really help make it easy for you guys so you have a perfect 1/4 inch and so much more. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the Triumph behind me, so I guess I'll just jump over here. And so this right here is the Babylock Triumph. This is their top of the line serger. And what it is a combo serger. So it's actually a 2-in-1. So it's a overlock and cover stitch. And you might be saying, well, John, what's the difference between an overlock and a cover stitch? And that's a really great question for me to show you guys. So your typical overlock is what you'll see like on your side seams of like your fabrics, your knits. So it looks like this, which is used to finish off your seams, but you could also use it for really cool decorative hems as well, or even finishing off your quilts like we did with this one here. So it's really cool that you could actually finish off the edge of your quilt with a heavyweight decorative thread with that 4-thread overlock. And then your cover stitch end, and I think I forgot to grab a sample of it, but that you'll commonly see with like your t-shirts. If you look at the bottom hem, you'll see that it's either 2 or 3 needles usually, and then there's like an overlock on the end. So that's going to be for more flat surfaces. So they are technically 2 different stitch types, and with the Triumph, you actually have the combo of that. So, and that means you could actually use some of those stitches together, which is going to be really cool. But today, we're going to use what I like to call our serger straight stitch. And the proper term for it is your chain stitch. And what that is it's going to look exactly like your straight stitch. There's nothing else different with it, really. So you're able to continuously piece all on your serger. And what I think I really like about it, too, is you guys might see we didn't have to wind any bobbins. We didn't have to, change out. In fact, my bobbin thread is going to be this entire cone right here. So I also like to call this the endless bobbin technique. Now, before I get into it, I want to kind of show you guys threading the machine and talking a little bit about it too, just so you guys learn a little bit more about it and understand some of the different features. This way, it doesn't seem too confusing. So I guess I should start off with the back of it. So as you guys can see here, we have 8 different spool pin slots, which might seem a little scary at first, but whenever we look at our quick threading guide, we could see all the different stitch possibilities and where those spools will go. So it makes a little bit more sense. And you could see, you could do some really cool different decorative stitches using all 8 cones, or you could do very fun things like the wave stitch and you only use 3 of those slots, or even being able to do our chain stitch where we're only going to use 2 of those sections. So we could see here 2. And just as a quick little reference, this will tell us everything we need to do here to set up our chain stitch, so it's going to be perfect. And I'll actually even walk through threading the machine as well, because it's really, really easy to thread. So in fact, I'm going to just snip my threads and actually unthread it. Oops. Alrighty, so one of my absolute favorite things about the Babylock Sergers here, and you can see that I've definitely been using this one a lot lately, I should have cleaned it up before it arrived, is that we actually have this really awesome feature that our lower and upper looper and our chain looper can actually be threaded without us having to do anything crazy or use tweezers. It uses this jet air threading here, where whenever I switch this to threading and I turn the hand wheel towards me, these tubes will actually lock in place for us to thread our loopers. And the same with the needles as well. And then another really cool feature about the Babylock Sergers, which is what makes them the absolute best sergers on the market, is you might notice we don't have any tension dials here. So the Triumph and other likewise models have auto tension, have perfect stitches every single time. So whenever we're threading our chain looper here, what we're going to do first is we're going to set up our 1 cone here for the looper, and then we're going to follow through these steps right here. So we're going to thread through this, and then there's a little guide right on the side of the machine that we'll just follow through. We'll pull our thread down, and then we're going to hover right above the C lever right here, or well, the C slot. And we're going to just kind of poke that thread in about 1/4 inch, and then we'll press this, and it's going to actually thread that chain looper for us. And when we look here, it shoots out. So it wasn't very complicated or hard. It was very easy. And I'm sure that some of you guys might be watching that have a older cover stitch machine or older serger that doesn't have jet air threading. And I can guarantee you guys, you're missing out on the ease of use here. So we're now going to come over to our needles section here, and we have it locked still in threading. So we'll pull down on this side lever here, and that's going to lower our air threader for our needles, which is really cool. So we're going to take our thread here, and we're going to come through the back first here, and you can see the different slots. So I'm going to just feed in right here, and then we'll come up and around, kind of just like our regular sewing machines, right? So we're used to that upper looper, and that's kind of what this part is. And then this is a really cool feature. So whenever we're doing our cover stitch needles, we're going to make sure that we switch this over to chain cover, because this switch here will actually switch the air pump to go to the needles for an overlock. But since we're doing a cover stitch here, we just want to flop it over there. We're going to hold in front of the needle, and then we're going to press this, and we can see it sucks it in, and then I just lift up and it threads that needle for us really easy. So that's one of the things I love about the Babylock Sergers, is just going to be the ease of use with everything. They're so easy to thread. That only took me about a minute here while explaining everything with you guys. On my first serger I ever had, it was a lot more complicated. There was hooks and loops that you had to take a pair of tweezers and fish it through to thread it, and it wasn't very fun. So now, with some of the other features we're going to show you today, I'm going to show you guys how using the lace applicator foot when quilting on the serger will actually help give us a perfect 1/4 inch. But I want to talk a couple other things about the serger before that real quick. So on the Triumph here too, we also have a couple different stitch selectors. So we have this little knob right here for our overlock stitch or our wave stitch. And for the chain stitch, since it technically doesn't use this part of the serger, we'll just keep it on overlock. We're going to keep our stitch selector on the side here on A. So we're going to just keep that like that. And then we're going to keep our differential feed on neutral. So for this, we don't want it to pull extra or scrunch anything in. So we'll keep that on neutral there. And then also for our cutting width, we're going to go all the way in. And this cutting width here is what will adjust that blade. So you can make it wider or shorter. But whenever we're quilting, we're going to want to keep it all the way on the smallest. And then we can also turn that off in some steps too. And I'm going to show you guys a mix of using it and then not using it. And then we're going to have our stitch length knob right here on about 2 or 2.5. That's what I found kind of works the best for me, but you could adjust that as you feel that's needed best. So I'm going to put our cable right back on there. And I'm going to swap this up. So let me grab the regular foot real quick that I had for it right here. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's a sign to just use the lace applicator foot. That's not the right one there. So we'll just use this one. So I'll show you guys starting off with this one here as I find the other foot. So with your serger straight stitch here, you can essentially do a straight stitch with an endless bobbin. And this is perfect for quilting or doing so many other different things. So I'm going to just show you guys up here. We'll come up to the overhead real quick. I'm just going to show you guys making a seam on the serger, which is really fun and really easy here. So I just have 2 little charm pieces here. They're actually slightly bigger. I cut them 6.5 by 6.5, but you could do this with any size. I was just kind of going by the width of my roller here. And then we could just kind of align these right sides together. And then we'll go back over to the serger here. Ah, there's the foot. Okay. And with the lace applicator foot, you actually have this little adjustable guide here that you could use. But even just using it on the spot that it comes pre-done with is perfect for a 1/4 inch. And what I'm doing here with my chain stitch is I have my needle in the rightmost position, so in slot number C3, and that's the slot that lines up the best for a 1/4 inch. So what I'll do is I'll kind of feed my fabric through here a little bit. And then let me just adjust my foot control. Sorry, I'm on a weird angle here today, guys. But we could just start serging. And we could see that that foot helps us keep it as a nice straight guide. And we could just serge, and we could chain off. And when doing that, it's going to let us stay lined up. But what's nice is it's not doing the 4-thread overlock. So I can actually go ahead and press my seams open over here, which is really fun because I know there's always the big debate in quilting. Do you press your seams to the one side, the dark side? Do you press them open? So I know everybody has their own preferences here. But what's nice is I can press them open if I want to. So just like that. So that's what's really great about that straight stitch feature on your serger, is I know that sometimes we have projects that we need to press our seams open first, so you're not limited to just a 4-thread overlock. Now, with that feature right there, I'm actually going to show you guys too how you can make a half square triangle as well, all on the serger. So I guess I'll set up with these fabrics here. And for this one, we're going to switch over to the regular foot as well. And then I also want to show you guys the difference of using the blade and not using the blade on the serger in this end too, because we could do half square triangles all on the serger with no rotary cutter involved. It's really cool, really fun, and really easy actually. So I'm just going to mark this part right here on my fabrics. So I'm going to use a friction pen, and I'm just going to mark a center line, but then I'm going to mark a 1/4 inch apart from that line on each side. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use this center line right here actually as a cutting guide whenever we go to turn on the blade. So let me go over to the serger here real quick, and we're just going to put on the standard foot. So we're going to switch from the lace applicator foot here, and I'm just going to trim that. And let me double check one thing. There we go. Let me steal a little scrap piece of fabric, and we'll just kind of do a little chain off. That is one thing I do like to do first, is just start your stitch, chain off a little bit before ever you jump straight into your project. That way it kind of pulls any of the little excess threads out of the way. So now, whenever we're going to do this on the serger here, is we're going to first flip our blade down. So that little lock lever right here underneath, you could turn it on or you could lock it. So for our first row of stitching, we're going to lock it. And we're going to use the little grooves on the standard foot here to line up with the needle so that we could sew right down on that line. Now what I like to do is I kind of start off really close to it, and I'm going to carefully stitch. And what's really lovely about the Triumph as well is you actually do have speed control. So I could slow my speed a little bit, and I could just follow right along that line. And what's nice too is even with the standard foot, you could kind of see how this is giving us about a 1/4 inch right here. So I'm just using it to line up with this line, and then I'm kind of lining up my center line with this inner part of the groove of that foot to kind of really help me keep everything nice and straight. And then we're just going to come straight back here, and we're going to chain off. I'm going to just snip those little excess threads here. And just like that, we did our first stitch. So nice and easy. It's our serger straight stitch. This is the back side here where we could see how it loops, which is nice. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn the blade back on. Do a couple stitches so that it comes up. And then we're going to sew the other side here. So we're going to line up, and we're going to carefully cut. Now what happens too is it's a little nice if you have a little bit of a longer tail here at first, just so you could guide your first couple stitches. But then as we're cutting here and sewing, we're just going to kind of keep this guided to the side. But we could see I'm making my half square triangles all in one go without having to use a rotary cutter. And I'm able to do it completely on the serger, which I think is absolutely awesome. It's one of the coolest things, because now whenever I'm quilting too, I don't have to wind a million bobbins, because we guys know sometimes it's like we have to wind a bunch of different bobbins when you know, that takes up a lot of extra time when I could do everything here on the serger. And we could see, I could easily press that open. I could press the seam to the side, to the dark side, whichever I need. And then I can take both of these blocks right here, and then I can actually sew those together with that lace applicator foot. So I'm going to press these real quick, and then we can kind of make a little bit of a flying geese block. So let me just press these real quick. But I just think that is so fun and so awesome to be able to do. In fact, I'm going to move my little ironing position over here. But I'm curious what you guys think. So this is a little bit of fun things that you could do with your serger, and you can quilt with it. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think I want a whole cone of thread as my bobbin thread for anything that I'm sewing. So to be able to use that straight stitch on your serger is just fantastic. I think I need to put a little bit more water in my iron here. I'm just going to press these to the dark side. Or maybe I'll press them open. I'm going to press them open, I guess. So, but I'm curious. I hope that everybody did a fun project over the weekend. We have some really fun stuff for the rest of the day here too. So I'm going to show you a little bit more about the Triumph. I'm going to show you some different accessories that work with it. And then we have a really great IQ designer lesson today at 3 o'clock as well. Alrighty, so here's one side. I'm going to just press open this side real quick. And then we're going to line these up together as well. So we'll be able to actually make a nice little block out of these. So I'm going to show you guys using that lace applicator foot again, but I'm actually going to use it with the blade for a specific reason, just because we have these little dog ears here that stick and poke out, and I actually want to cut those off at the same time that I'm making that stitch so I don't have to go back and redo it later. There we go. I just need to let my iron heat up a little bit. Alrighty, so let's take this side and this side together. And then I usually like to put a little pin in it. And we'll just watch for that pin whenever we're getting close to the edge when we're serging it, because we want to remove those pins as we go. And so I'm going to put that lace applicator foot back onto the serger here. And that's what I really like to use whenever I'm doing this. Now, I guess technically, you know, you wouldn't need to use it, but you're going to want to use it because it just helps make it so much more accurate and easier to do, because it gives you this nice little guide right here. Oh, let me not accidentally snatch the thread in. And what I love too is the sergers have those snap-on feet, just like our regular machines. So they're really easy to use. I'm just going to use a little scrap piece here real quick. Start out my stitch, get any of the little excess of the chain out of the way. And you don't always need to do that. I just do it anytime in between I swap out the feet. That is just one little thing I like to do. Alrighty here. Now, as we feed this through here, we're going to keep the cutter on this time with this foot. And we'll just kind of slowly guide this through. And you do want to remove your pins. I accidentally missed one there. Because you don't want to accidentally chop over it. And sometimes I like to use a little sewing awl as well, just to kind of help keep things evenly feeded through. But we can piece off right there, flip open, and then just like that, we were able to connect those blocks. So it's really cool that you could do all of that on the Serger. There's so many different quilting possibilities. Why don't I show on the overhead? It's a little dark in that corner today. But yeah, really fun stuff that you could do on the Serger. And I know I've been showing so many different projects. I know I showed doing fold over binding on the Serger that you could do on the Triumph as well. But you could make an entire quilt entirely on the Serger, which I just think is so awesome. So for all of my quilters out there, this is something really cool that you could do. Like I said, we're surging into the new year, so many new projects. If you watched last Thursday night, I made this pillowcase completely on a Serger in under, okay, well, a little over 5 minutes by 3 seconds. So you'll have to go back and rewatch that because it was a really fun little part of that night. But I do want to say too, if you are interested in a Serger, or if you've been thinking about one and you want some more information, feel free to give Steve and I a call. Steve is back this week at 412-344-2330. Option 2 will take you to both of us. We'll be more than happy to get you set up with a new Serger or do a little demo with you or answer any questions that you guys might have. But yeah, I just think it's so awesome that you could do that. And also just the endless bobbin possibility right there, not having to constantly rewind is just awesome. So really, really fun stuff. So I hope this was a fun little lesson, but I have a couple little products to show you guys here that go with your Serger. So maybe if you already do have the Triumph, maybe you need some new accessories or some fun little things for it. But I guess I'll just start off from the top here. So let's start off with the Maxi Lock thread. And I believe this is a drop-down menu, correct?
I think it's a pack of 5.
Oh, this is a pack of 5.
Like a variety color.
All right, I think these are the colors then, I'm going to assume. So we have a variety color Sophie grabbed, but we can see here, it's always great to have this Maxi Lock thread. We use this so much, and we like to really use this for our rolled hems. And that just helps really wrap around that edge of the fabric to give you a nice and clean, crisp edge with it. What Maxi Lock thread is it is a stretch serger thread. So we could see here that it actually stretches out. Maybe we could zoom in a little bit, Sophie. So we could see that it actually stretches whenever I pull it. And now this type of serger thread is a little bit different compared to your regular serger thread. And I'm going to just compare here real quick. So I'll snip off a little piece of that, one of those spools. And this is our regular serger thread. So our serger thread that's regular is kind of just like our sew-all thread. It's like a 3-ply thread. So think of it as being braided. And then stretch thread is kind of just like this woolly, stretchy thread. So this is perfect for the wave stitch and rolled hems because it really helps wrap around the fabric and fills in any little gaps. So we really like using this for a lot of different projects. But as Liz mentioned too in the comments, it is a must for the wave stitch. It makes the wave stitch look super clean and perfect. Alrighty. How do you chain off the wave stitch if you're doing it in the round? So Jackie, that's a great question. What you would do here, I'm actually very happy I have this sample right here. What we do is we'll just kind of pivot our fabric to the side here and we'll chain off and we'll just kind of trim it really close down. So that's how you chain off those wave stitches. Now, we also have some regular serger threads and we have some 2-spool packs for you guys. So this is our premium serger thread and we love it. So if you are going to quilt on your serger, you're going to want 2 spools of each, maybe 4, because you can never have enough thread. That is something I learned over the weekend while I was working on a project. So, but the first color that we have in there is charcoal. And then I think Sophie just added a bunch of colors. So we're going to just kind of shift down them. You guys could hit that shop all button if there's a specific color that you want. The next one is red. We love the red because it looks so pretty. We keep the red in all the sergers all the time. And then we also have gray. We also have white. I always say the white is a must-have as well. So, and then Okay, another thing that we have in the lineup is going to be best press. So whenever you are quilting on the serger, I always say, or even just quilting in general, I always like to use best press to just kind of help our fabric stay a little bit stiffer. This is the clear one and unscented, so it's not going to stay in your fabric. It's going to wash off. We love best press for so many different things. I prefer this one the most compared to some of the other starches that we have, just because I think personally it works the best. And then we also have this brand new mini Panasonic cordless iron. So this is what I've been using today, and I absolutely love this. So if you are on the go, maybe you're going to a different retreat, this is the best iron you could have. So it's a little bit smaller than the regular Panasonic, but it's nice and cordless. So it comes with this nice little case as well, and it just charges right on this station right here. And then this power cord actually can roll up into the front here as well. And then, do I have the lid for this, Sophie? There it is. Yeah. And what's nice too is everything could pack up really easily, and then you could put your top cover on and go home with this or travel anywhere. So it's perfect if you're on the go with any retreats. And I did forget to mention too today that it is still 10% back. So whatever you buy today is going to be 10% credit put back into your account. So I always say take advantage of it because you never know if that might disappear. I don't think we would ever want it to disappear. We love giving you guys loyalty points because then you guys come back and shop with us. So, and then I have a couple different things, but ooh, the Serger needles. So, do we have the pack of those? They're right here. Okay, so a lot of people always ask us too about what needles do I use in my serger, John? I'm not sure which ones. And you can use any universal needle in your Babylock sergers. However, there is one that we love the best that we think gives us the best results. And this is going to be for any serger here. It's actually these Schmetz needles. And I was using the 9014 ones just for quilting. You could use an 8012 one, but the 9014 is our favorite. I recommend this one all the time. I always tell people use these needles. These are the best ones, and they are the longest lasting serger needles as well. So, and then I have a couple different charm packs here. So let me grab these. Because maybe if you're going to quilt on your serger this week, you might want a little charm pack for a fun little project. So the first one I have here is In the Garden, and this one's from Moda. So we could see all these pretty different little fabrics here. Is there a thing on the back? No, there isn't. But these are really nice neutrals. I think these would be perfect for any little applique projects that you're working on, any little fun crib size quilts. Look at that. Oh, look at this. So that's really pretty. I love anything with stripes because it always looks nice as a binding. But we could see a ton of fun different fabrics here.
How often do you recommend to change your serger needle?
So you know what? I'm happy somebody asked that. I like to change them every few projects. However, if you're only using your serger now and then, you're fine to keep those needles in. They are really long lasting. But if I was maybe doing like a full quilt on my serger, I'd probably change it out after I'm done with that project and put a fresh one in. Kind of like our embroidery needles. So, but this is In the Garden. Cute little charm pack. Absolutely love this. Now, this other one here, this is a new one, I think, and it's called Peachy. And this is another Moda one. And this is from Jessica Rogue. But I really like this one here just because it has all these fun little designs in here. We can see it's very, as I would say, modern. So this would be fun for a little project that you're maybe making a niece or a nephew. Absolutely fun. I really like the colors of it too, of like the turquoises, the creams, the kind of peachy colors in there. So really, really fun. All right, but this is probably my favorite one that Sophie grabbed, and this is actually Reef. So this one is from Kate Spain, and I'm actually going to fully take this one off without ripping this. But I love this one. One of our customers that recently bought a machine, she made one of the Tiffany bags with this charm pack. So that's another fun thing you could do with all of those different charm packs is one of Tiffany's bags. But this Reef one right here, this is probably one of my favorite collections on the floor. So you have all these fun like little nautical prints. It kind of just looks like a coral reef, and it makes me feel like I'm at the beach. That's probably why this is my favorite one that we grabbed here, just because it's still cold outside, and I'd love to be somewhere nice and warm. But we could see tons and tons and tons of fun, different, beautiful, and vivid charms here. Perfect if you're going to quilt these on the serger together too. So, alrighty. And then we also have this collection here, Free Spirit. So this is a very fun like floral print that we could see here. Very vivid pinks and oranges with this like little lattice print. More oranges, yellows. So it really looks like it's just going to be these two prints in different colors with the floral and then the lattice here. So, ooh, you know what? That's very pretty. I could see this being perfect for some specific embroidery appliques too. Sometimes I know we like to use our own fabrics for some of those projects. So that's what I really like to use charm packs for, is being able to do those with our embroidery appliques. And then our last one here is Wander Lane. And you guys know Wander Lane is one of our favorite fabric collections that we have. We always have it in stock. So here's the charm pack for it. And we use this for so many different appliques, but even using it for bags or incorporating that into your quilts with little blenders here is perfect. So we can kind of zoom in a little bit with all the different fabrics that we have here. So alrighty. Now, those are our little charm packs there. Does the foot you used come with the Triumph? So the lace applicator foot is actually a foot that is sold separately from the Triumph. So I'm going to show you guys that one here really quickly. And what's nice is, you know, what's intended with this foot is to use it to actually apply lace onto like maybe the edge of a tablecloth, which is another really cool thing you could do with your serger. But because it has this guide here, it actually helps us guide for a perfect 1/4 inch, which is why a lot of quilters really like this foot for their Triumph. Now, this foot will also work on any other 8-thread Babylock serger. So if you have the Accolade or the brand new Splendor, or the Ovation, this foot will work on all of those models as well. I think it's one of the must-have feet just because there are a couple other techniques you could use this foot for other than quilting on a serger, but being able to use it to help sew nice and perfect seams, whether that's for a garment or a bag maybe, and it helps you keep lined up and straight so you don't accidentally cut off some of your fabric, just enough just to trim the edge perfectly. So, but yeah, we love this foot. It's one of the coolest feet ever. Now, another thing that I have in here is going to be the serger foot set. So if you could hand me these real quick. Now, the lace applicator foot does come in this set right here. And this is a set of 6 different feet for your 8-thread sergers. And we have a couple different ones in here. So we have our blind hem foot, we have our lace applicator foot, our beading foot. So there's so many fun different things that you can do on a serger. We've really only been scratching the surface here, but I'm going to show you guys some really cool techniques coming up in all these upcoming weeks. I've used this foot here before. You could actually do ruffles on your serger and attach it to like a tea towel all in one go. I really love the ruffling foot. And then the lace applicator foot. So this set is just a great set of feet to have for so many different things. You have your elastic foot that you could actually feed through elastic perfectly on the serger as well. So there's that nice little foot set. And I'll repackage that a little bit nicely off camera. But one of my favorite things is actually going to be this fusible thread. So I lost my sample. I don't know what happened to it. I'm going to show it to you guys again another one of these days here. But 2 Thursday nights ago, I showed you guys how you could actually do binding all on your serger, and you wrap it over and you can actually permanently press it with this fusible thread. So if you want to do binding on your serger, this is a must-have thread. I always say get 2 spools of it. I use it in both the upper and lower loopers of my 4-thread overlock with that. It's absolutely perfect. It's such an easy way of doing binding, and it comes out perfect every single time. So this is the fusible thread here. And it is 10% back. I would stock up on this while I still have it, because I did get a notification from our supplier that this could be on back order. So if this is something that you want to do, I would buy it today just before it accidentally might go on back order. Now, the overlock table right here. So if you do have the Babylock Triumph, what they did come out with is this additional table here. So the one that came with the machine here originally only had 2 little screw spots. And they came out with the second one so that you could use new attachments, which is really fun because there's a bunch of different things that you could do with it. Now, there's attachments that you could use to do like a folded over hem, or using different ones to evenly space things out, or double fold over binding. So there's a ton of different attachments that you can use with your serger.
Can you use the fusible in just one looper?
So you know what? I like to do both loopers. You technically could. I would probably do the upper looper for it, but I like both. It helps give a stronger hold on that binding compared to just having one of the threads in there. All right, and then we also have the trim bin. So one of the new accessories that came out this year at Babylock is going to be the trim bin here. And this fits so many different sergers. And I remember when I first started here, I said, where's the trim bins at for the serger? So I'm really happy they came out with it this year. And they fit onto the sergers very easily here. So maybe we'll come over to this camera real quick. So let me just put on my cutting table here real quick. So whenever we are serging, right, what's nice to have is this trim bin to collect all your little scraps. So usually there is a little needle plate guide that fits in right here, and it looks exactly like this. And what this is a nice little magnet where if you accidentally drop a needle, the machine's engineered so the needle will fall into the perfect spot right here, and you could pull it out and retrieve it so it doesn't accidentally get lost in there. But what's nice is that trim bin will replace that part, fit in there, and still give you a nice little needle spot while collecting your scraps. So I love the trim bin. It works on so many different models with the Triumph, the Acclaim, the Ovation, the Splendor, and much more. Alrighty, and then we have a couple of thread sets that we put together too, which is always fun. You could do so many different decorative stitches with your sergers as well. So what do we call this one? Northern Lights. So these ones are for the applaud, but you could also use some of these heavyweight decorative threads in that lower and upper looper on your serger for a really nice finish. So that's what we actually used here on this quilt for our favorite team here in Pittsburgh, which is the Steelers. But you can actually use those heavyweight decorative threads with a 4-thread overlock on your serger to finish off the edges of your quilts. So if you do have the Babylock Applaud, which is a different machine, you could use this set on that, or on your Triumph or any other machine here. So, but we could see here we have some really different pretty colors. So we have this aqua blue. We have this really vivid black because it has all these different little shades of like purple and blue and gold mixed into it. I kind of call it like the Mardi Gras color of thread. Then we have a nice green here. Then we also have this beautiful fuchsia color as well. So just set this here. And then I think we also have 2 other thread sets. So this is, what's this one? Our neutrals? Oh yeah, these are definitely neutrals. So these are perfect and would look awesome too to finish off the edge of your quilt with. And I kind of, if I was finishing off the edge of it, I would like to use these heavyweight threads. It just kind of fills in a little bit more. And I think it's a nice way of kind of replacing your binding. So we have kind of like an off-white, we have a black, we have a shade of brown, and then kind of like a mocha color here, and then like a taupe or beige, you could call it. Would you call that taupe or beige?
Beige.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's in between beige, taupe, but we love them. So, and we also have a metallics pack. So these are my favorite colors right here is the metallics. And I think you can never, ever, ever go wrong with metallics. So we have our gold right here. And then we have a different shade of this beige right here. It's kind of almost like a champagne gold now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, that's what I would call that, like a champagne gold. And then we also have this sparkle black as well. So beautiful colors to have in your collection. Then we also have a nice little set too with fuchsias and silvers. So I think you could really see. Let's zoom in on this one a little bit more. So what's nice about this silver one here is it has those other little shades in there of pink and blue and gold in there. So it kind of gives a really nice effect. And we also have this beautiful dazzle one as well in fuchsia. And then we also have 2 plain ones with silver and then pink. And yes, you can use that dazzle thread on the Acclaim. You could use it on the Victory. You could even use it on the Celebrate. You would use these in the lower and upper loopers here to create that 4-thread overlock, but it's going to give that nice thick effect. And because we have that auto tension, it works absolutely perfect on those sergers. So then I have one last set here, and this is our Easter pack. So there we go. We have a lot of different beautiful shades here of pastels. So this is a great set to have. In fact, honestly, I think I would rather, next quilt that I go to make maybe for the store sample, I think instead of doing a binding, I'm just gonna do the overlock stitch. Because you know what? I think it's a way easier way of finishing off your quilts, and it's a cooler and more unique way rather than doing the binding. So we have this gold right here. We have kind of like a coral pink, and then we have like a peach color. And then I would say this is kind of like a periwinkle, and then a little bit of a lavender. So really nice pastel colors right here for us. And also, I am gonna say it one more time, guys, it is 10% back into your count on everything I showed here today. So always take advantage of it and stock up. But I think that's everything I have for you guys today. So either Gloria or I will be back here at 3 for IQ Designer. We both have some projects we've been working on, so we'll just see who's ready first. But once again, if you guys are interested in a new serger or a new machine at all, feel free to give us a call. We're more than happy to help you find the perfect fit for you. And you give us a call at 412-344-2330 and select option 2. So, but see you guys back at 3.